am, coming to you from Stationery Nerd. Today we're going to look at the Superior Maker hardcover notebook. I've got a dotted version and a lined version, and I've got a brand new version and one that's almost all the way full. So I use this notebook as my work bullet journal, and we're going to do a quick flip through of this as well just to show you how I use it. But we're also going to look at all the specs of this notebook so that you can get an idea of the quality that we're talking about. So let's get into it. Let's go through the specs of the notebook, and I'm just going to set this one aside and we're going to take a look inside this one first. So elastic band on the outside, and you know how I am about the elastic. I want it to actually be usable so that you can use it to close the book. Well, this is kind of a wimpy elastic, so keep that in mind. And then let's see, in the back pocket we have on the back cover we have a back pocket, and there is black fabric or a ribbon for that gusset, so that's nice and sturdy. And then this notebook also comes with a set of stickers. So these are actually page flags. I'm just going to show you how it works. So it's got a little dotted line in the middle, and what you do is you just put it, I'm not going to put it in my book, but we're going to put it right here. So you just put it along the edge of your book, or edge of a page, and then you just fold it over. So then now you have, you know, a little color tab. And so those come with the book, and then also you've got a sticker to put on your front cover once you're done and you want to label that. So I haven't used these, but it's a handy little thing to have. I'm just going to stick these in the back pocket so I do not lose them. Okay, and then on the inside you have your end paper, which is the thicker cardstock, and then you go right straight into the dotted paper, and there are no page numbers on this. You do get 240 dotted pages. So that's one of the interesting things, or the unique things about this notebook itself, is the number of pages. Normally, if you have a journal that has 100 GSM paper, which is what's in here, it's a nice thick paper, you only get about 192 pages in a normal A6 or A5 journal. There's a few exceptions, like the Scribbles That Matter have, I think, 200 pages, but then once you get over about 200 pages, your book starts to get really thick. So you can see that this is a very hefty notebook. So let's just compare this. This is the Neo Dot, and this has 192 pages at 100 GSM. So you can see the difference here on the thickness. And let me just pull my ruler up so in case you wanted to measure that. So you can see that the Superior Maker is about almost a full inch. It's about 3/4 of an inch, whereas the Neo Dot is about just over a 1/2 inch. So definitely a significant difference there. But if you need a book that has a lot of pages, this is the one for you. Because it's going to just last you forever, which I can tell you, this is lasting me forever. Alright, so let's just take a look at some of the specs here. We have this spreadsheet that you can pick up at the website, which is stationarynerd.com/journals. And Superior Maker, I paid $15.94 on Amazon, and the size is 8 1/4 by 5. So that is narrow. That's much more narrow than an A5. And this is the Leuchtturm 1917. You can see the size on that. And that is a significant difference. What you also want to compare it to is the moleskin. So I just happen to have a moleskin here because, you know, I have journals everywhere. the same size as that. So that's probably where they were getting their measurement from, is because the moleskin is that size. So you've got that reference. Let's take a look at the paper inside. This is a, it does lay flat once you train that spine a little bit or break in the spine. And it is claiming that the paper is, let's see how it lists, it is called ivory, and it's available in either dotted or lined. And of course, I have both. And the cover on this is a hardcover, and it comes in 3 different color options. I can't remember what colors they are. I think blue and red for some reason sticks out in my mind. But this paper is very, very ivory, very, a lot darker than normal. So let's just compare that. So I've got a piece of regular white printer paper here, so you can see the difference there. And let's also compare it to the Leuchtturm 1917. So normally the Leuchtturm is so much more yellow than any other book, and you can see that this is much, the Superior Maker is much more yellow. And then here we have a Scribbles That Matter. So that gives you an idea of the color difference on those books. So, all right. And you can also see the dots on this are very dark. So I'm just going to pull this back up again. So the dots on the Superior Maker are pretty dark compared to the Leuchtturm, that's very light. And then also the Scribbles is very light. So that's something else to take into consideration. All right, moving on. Let's take a look. While we've got this open, let's measure just to see. And yes, we are at 5 millimeter on that grid size, which is a normal size. So let's take a look at the pen test. I have selected a variety of pens. And I'm just going to pull them out here so you can see what we've got. A couple of Sharpie highlighters. These are the liquid highlighters. And then I chose a variety of black pens. Got a fountain pen, fine liners, gel pens, a rollerball pen, and Micron. So I've got these listed in the description below. So go ahead and take a look at that if you need more details on the pens that I used. Okay, so let's take a close look at this pen test here. I don't see any problems at all, except for my sloppy handwriting, but you guys don't seem to be complaining about that, so I guess that's good. It looks pretty good to me on the front side. So let's take a look on the back. I think this is good. We have Jack coming for a visit. All right, Jack. Oh, Jack likes elastic. We're just going to tuck this up in here so that he doesn't want to play. All right, so here is a closer look of that ghosting. The ghosting is there, kind of. It's very minimal. When we look at this one here, this is the Bic 730R, which is that rollerball pen that I threw in here as the big test, because this is crazy wet ink on this pen. But what's great is the fountain pen, which is the Pilot disposable fountain pen. That's not so bad. None of these actually bled through. I see no bleeding at all, just a bit of ghosting, but really pretty good on this pen test. So approved. This is good. All right, and there is just one bookmark, and it is long enough to be usable, so that's awesome. Let's take a look at the other one that I have sitting here. I've actually been putting off this review because I kept forgetting to bring this home. This book actually stays right at the office on my desk. I hardly ever bring it home, just because I have no reason to bring work home with me, and I don't actually want to. I would like to just leave it at the office and then not think about it when I get home. So I do keep this highlighter, and if you've watched previous videos, you know that green highlighter is important to me because this is how I indicate that something is done on my list. So I cross it off in green highlighter. It means that it's done and I can ignore it. And that's exactly the system that I use in here too. So this is going to be an example of what a book looks like when you glue a bunch of stuff in it. So I use this as a reference book and also for note-taking during meetings, as well as a way to capture tasks as they come in. I started this journal in July 2017. And in the front here, I actually include some references for myself. So I've got my business card posted here in case you lose it. I'm just covering that up so you don't see what my work number is. Contact information, messages, and then I actually tipped in this two-sided calendar and 16, 17, 18, 19, and it's just a year at a glance calendar. And I laminated it, but I laminated it with boxing tape and then taped it into the page itself. And then this front page is empty. This is just an icon tree that we had created at work. And then I have the color palette here. So I have my color palette reference page. So I am the designer at the county. And so it's good to have this color codes easily referenced here. And then for each month, I just glued in, or actually taped in with double-sided tape, a printout of that month just as a general reference. Just because I don't use this for calendar stuff, I just use it for task capture. But it's always good to have a visual reference of the month. So, and then I just tape the side with washi tape. So the way this works in my journal is I get a lot of requests from a lot of different departments for projects and different things that come in every day. So as those tasks come in, I just need a way to capture them all in a single place so that I can, number one, track to see who's giving me tasks and who's using up the most of my time. And then also a way for me to go back and reference, oh yeah, that task came in on this date. And then I was able to finish it on a different date. So I don't usually use this for project planning. It's really just for task capture. And it's not even task management. Like I'm not crossing things off of a list here. This is really things that come in, go on the list so I can track what's coming in. And then actually here's a page where I just took some notes during a meeting, and then clearly I had a bunch of action items, so my action items were crossed off in green. And then here we are in August, and same deal. Just a list of tasks and meeting notes, larger projects that have a longer shelf life. This is the advertising schedule, and this is something that I still refer back to even though I'm way back here in September now. So at some point, let me just get to a point where, yeah, it looks like December is when I started this. Yes. So December is when I started to do this vertical calendar. And you can see that I just drew a line down the side. These are the days. And then on any day when there's a significant event or meeting or due date, I just wrote that on the calendar as a visual reference. And so I did continue that throughout each new month. And Jack has decided that, oh, there's a ribbon there. I'm just going to tuck this in so he doesn't notice. All right, lay down. Okay, so, and then come 2018, I actually thought that I needed a future log just so I could get a sense of the overview of what was happening for the year. I did this filled in some dates, and then never revisited again. So it was kind of a waste, but at least I didn't spend a lot of time because it was just a printout and I just glued it in. So that's kind of how I use my entire journal. Just a matter of tracking tasks as they come in, doing meeting notes when necessary, and lots of sticky notes and whatnot. I think this is actually kind of funny. So as I go through, actually let me just back up here. As I go through, I like to just make sure at the end of the month that everything that I need to do is crossed off. And if it's not, so for instance, these tasks were brought forward from May when they weren't finished. So I brought them forward at the end of June. I go back through my month and see what I didn't do. These things are still on that list, and when it comes to July moved forward tasks. So very few tasks move forward because it's okay for me to go back several pages and cross something off when it's done later on in the month. So when I know that everything is complete here, this sticky note right here goes into the next page. And all it says is nothing to see from here. I can't believe I can't get my camera to focus when I'm right there. Okay, this is the sweet spot. Remember this, Pam. All right, so I just stick it here so that when I'm opening my book, I can see this is my last page that I need to look at. So this actually happens to be August. It was the last time I went through because I haven't actually cleared August yet, and we're already into September. So, and then here, actually I took 4 pages of meeting notes during a meeting earlier in this week. So this is actually where we are right now. And then in the back, I just phone numbers or general filing information, business cards, and then I don't think there's anything back here. Oh yeah, print vendor phone numbers and just general reference information here. So yeah, so this is my work journal, and this is the Superior Maker hardcover notebook. And I do prefer a lined journal for my work journal, so that's why I did pick up that one. And having a notebook that's got 240 pages is super helpful for me to make sure that I am not switching notebooks all the time. So anyway, that's all I have for now, and let me know. Have you used this book? I know that they also have an A6 size or a pocket size. So that's also a great option with lots of pages and yeah, in a smaller size. So anyway, let me know if you use this and what you think, and we'll chat down in the comments. Until next time, I will see you later, guys. Bye.